this I find amazing in Estonia, that you can build during the winter too, any weather. You see, like no problem. Snowing, -4 degrees, you can still build. So good for the property sector. Hi, my name is Georgi, and I'm doing today's Estonian newspaper Postimees brief overview. It's the newspaper, so let's start. There are two headlines. One is that Fermi Energy is going to apply so that the Estonian government will analyze the feasibility and of erecting a nuclear power plant, which is crazy, I think. But that's the headline. And the other headline is that one family was accused and jailed for alleged human trafficking from Estonia to Finland. Crazy headlines today. Also on the second page there is an article that for all elderly people it might not be a good idea who are like almost at the end of their life or have a lot of health problems. For them it would be better not to vaccinate them against COVID, because if for somebody else it has a mild reaction, for them it could be devastating. So Estonian European Union Parliament member Riho Terras is collecting signatures in the European Union Parliament to fire Joseph Borrell because of this last disastrous Joseph Borrell press conference at Moscow. So ads, and on 2 pages, on page number 4 and 5, there is this article of how a family, 35-year-old man, Gevorg Ovsipean, and his 23-year-old spouse, woman, arranged human trafficking from Estonia, from this city Narva, to Finland. So the scheme was as follows. They were offering job opportunities for people from Narva to go and work in Finland, but instead they forced them to steal. It's awful. And luckily they could not operate for more than a year, but it's still crazy. And the same article says also that human trafficking numbers in Estonia have increased, and most of the people who are contacting those helplines are foreigners who come to Estonia and get in some bad situations with these are criminals who organize that. So be careful. It's not very but this is like the cases have increased. In 2019 there were 5 cases reported, and in 2020 there were 20 cases of human trafficking, like in 21st century. This is really awful. Also on the same page, number 4, that the city government is going to launch, or the government is launching an investigation into this Porto Franco real estate project investment. When, if you remember, there is a allegation of a corruption. Hi, today I read an interesting real estate related article that one of the developers received a state loan to develop his real estate, Porto Franco, which includes one of the parties which is now in the government. So good that they're investigating. Continental tires, which is in Estonia is very important to have good tires. These Continental tires are recalling tires which were sold in Finland, Sweden, Norway and Estonia. So no information about any accidents with those tires, but I should go maybe someday in deep with this, all the knowledge you need to have for using a car in Estonia. There are a lot of things you should know. So Põhjala Brewery, another article, Põhjala Brewery was voted as the best brewery. Well, they're brewing beer, the best brewery in Estonia. Very difficult to pronounce that one. Brewery. So there is an also article with a photo that of some nice slides due to, I don't know if you see it, due to the cold. So in this small city Viljandi, if you remember, there's still discussion about this Jaak-Joala like bust or like postament, where there was a big discussion that not everybody liked it. And now this non-profits seem to get less money because of this piece of art, because obviously this costed 70,000 euros, and the budget for the non-profits in this small city Viljandi was before last year was 460,000, and this year is 419,000, so 40,000 less. But Viljandi, this government, the regional government, says it has no connection, which is kind of obviously not true. Like difference is 40 euros, and this Jaak-Joala, this piece of art to commemorate him costs around 70,000 or something. So obviously there is a connection. Let me just read a little bit. So now we continue with the economics page. You see it's pink, like Financial Times. So in the economics page, the biggest article is about this nuclear power plant project. But don't worry, this is going to be maybe sometimes in the future. They're still making some feasibility projects. It's not going to happen before 2028, if at all. I'm against it. I think it's stupid, because it might be cheap to have this energy, but where are you going to store the nuclear waste? Not a good idea. Especially in Estonia, we have a lot of wind, and maybe we should put it, store it somewhere in batteries, but not a nuclear plant. I'm not a fan of that. So at the end, prices started to rise. So 0.2% prices rose in January this year compared to last year, and before that the prices were always dropping, and the electricity has increased 20.9%, which is quite big increase, and but the rent is 8.7% cheaper, and from the food produce, the most produce that got more expensive were fruits by 11%. Obviously this is due to increased transportation costs, and fresh fish is cheaper, 29% cheaper. In January were bought more expensive apartments than compared to last year. Last year in January there were 959 apartments sales made, and this January 750. But the average price per square meter was 2,231 euros. Which is 11% more than last year. And overall volume, monetary volume, has increased 18% of the sales. So obviously now there are a lot of projects, new building projects, which are finalized, and most of the sales goes to the new apartments. So another interesting article, that the export from the United Kingdom has decreased 68% compared to last year January, this year January. So this is interesting. There is also a big article about Wall Street and about this GameStop situation. So they're obviously explaining it to the local market, this market manipulation. Also there is an interesting article about Joseph Borrell visit, and that Erik Niles Kross, on political advisor, he suggests that it's better for Estonia to communicate more with Berlin, Paris, and to have one strategy with Russia, not to do it alone. And that nagging about this Borrell incident is not going to help. That is what he thinks. So there is also an interesting article about the social media, that you should not use the social media as kind of information, so you don't get your information from the social media, but it is more like a reaction to what is happening in the world. So don't take it with a pinch of salt, and this is just an offer for a discussion, and interesting article about the semiotics of all those social media posts and these kind of things, but it is very deep. We can't cover it here. Some cultural things. Sports page, that Estonian Kaia Kanepi and Anett Kontaveit, they were kind of these are tennisists, Estonian tennisists. So there is article about them too. But I'm not big fan of the sport, so this I'll skip this one. Okay, thank you for consider subscribing to the channel, and at the end I will finish with the Estonian lesson. So Terviseks in Estonian, Terviseks. This means cheers, has nothing to do with sex. Terviseks means cheers, and by the way, Google Translate will give you a wrong suggestion as a translation. Google Translate offers something with health, because tervis is generally health or good health, or it offers something like this, but it is cheers. So when you have a beer, when you say, everybody says cheers. Okay, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.